I'm proud Echo Church has been able to help people who have come to us. There's quite a few people over the last 3 years that have come to us with some really important needs. I'm proud to say that we have set aside 5% of our income for benevolence. What that means is we're not just like, oh, if a need comes, if we have money that month, we might help. No, we have a fund to help people because we see this as a mission of this church. We've helped struggling families all around this community. And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to live up to this beautiful standard that we see here in Acts chapter 4. Really, this is made possible by people who tithe to the church. The tithe is an Old Testament principle, but nowhere in the New Testament has it been overturned. In fact, Jesus supports it. And so now that we are in the new covenant, we have so many more blessings than the old covenant believers did. And so how much more of a responsibility do we have to give? And if you tell me that, hey, Christians aren't required to tithe, the correct answer is you're right. Like, Jesus doesn't say you are required to tithe. In fact, if you read all the teachings of Jesus on money, which there's quite a bit, he talks about money a lot, Christians are actually supposed to give more. It's a step of faith. It really is. It's trusting God with control over a very sensitive part of your life. You know, it's rude to talk about money, isn't it? I prayed for boldness last week, and God gave me the boldness to talk about money. But it's hard because I know it's sensitive. I do know. To be honest, your money is your power, isn't it? If you have money, you have the ability to make choices. But what if you gave that power to God? What if you said, God, I'm going to give you 10%. I'm going to trust you with the 90. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to give you this little bit, God. I'm going to give it to you first. That's another thing about tithing is you give the 10% before you pay any other bills, even your mortgage, even your rent. You give God the first bit and see how he blesses you with the rest of it. That verse that I read in Malachi, at the very end of it, he says, try it. Put me to the test. And this might be a message that God is speaking to you right now. Maybe you've been talking with your spouse about this for a while. Maybe you've been thinking about it yourself. God is literally telling you through Scripture, put me to the test. David wrote in Psalm chapter 37, he says, once I was young, now I'm old, yet I have never seen the godly abandoned or their children begging for bread. I have never personally met anyone who faithfully tithed and regretted it. I've never seen anyone give money to God and say, I wish I hadn't done that. Once you get used to it, to tithing, you see it as your duty. You're actually able to be filled with joy when you see your church thriving and when you see the church blessing people. When you hear stories of families who were given shelter for a few weeks. When you hear stories of families who couldn't send their kids to youth camp, their kids are still able to go because of the tithers. When you're able to say, my tithe has helped people, you get filled with joy.